Welcome back to Mac Talks Football, and this is the review video for the predictions that I made for match day 15 in Liga. It has not been a really good week for me. I will tell you that in advance, and you're gonna be surprised at how bad I was in my predictions. So let's go ahead and see what I did. As I said in the prediction video, 1 point I will get if the entire prediction is correct along with the score line, and half a point if the prediction is right but the score line is not correct. So let's go ahead and start. The first game, it was Toulouse versus Saint Etienne. I went for a 2-all draw between both these teams. It ended up being a 2-1 win for Toulouse, so I don't get a single point. I start with a big fat a 0. At the game, I thought it was going to be quite a close game, and it ended up being a close game. But it should not have been. Like Toulouse themselves have themselves to blame for this being a tough game, and it being a tough win for them, because they started and they dominated that first half entirely. They really did not let Saint Etienne breathe for a second. But unfortunately for them, they just couldn't convert those chances, missing open headers and shooting the wides. It's not like the keeper made any good saves in that half. It was mostly Toulouse just hitting the short wide, not getting not hitting on the target, and they paid their price for it as Saint Etienne went ahead and they took the lead against the run of play in the second half. Like, the first half was completely Toulouse, second half comes in, and again Toulouse were the ones that created the chances, but Saint Etienne took advantage of Toulouse not converting those chances and take the lead. It becomes 1-0. But luckily for Toulouse, that lead did not last a lot longer. Just like 2 or 3 minutes later, they equalized courtesy of Babichka. And because they were so good, because they were the ones creating chances, that they had to get that equalizer. After that, though, the game sort of slowed up. Saint Etienne started having more possession, and they tried to slow that game down, and they made sure that Toulouse don't have that, they are not able to play that fast running football that they were playing before in the first half especially. And the chances sort of dried up, and Toulouse just were looking for the right moment. They started to play that counter attacking football, and they got really lucky right at the end. Like 87th 88th minute, Zakaria Abdul Khal gets the ball, and he finally scores that goal that Toulouse needed to score. And in my opinion, they deserve to get that goal, and they deserve to get those 3 points, which they did. And it was in my opinion a fair result and a deserved win for Toulouse. It was their third win in their last 5 games, takes them to 9th in the table, still in contention for those European places, like 3 points behind the team. I think I forgot who the team is at the in the 6th position. So like they are still in for contention for those European places, and they go into the winter break with in a good form, in a happy form. Saint Etienne, on the other hand, unfortunately, like, that's their 10th defeat of the season, and it is not really looking good for them. 16 in the table, and they go into the into the winter break without a manager, because Oliver Liaglo was sacked within about 50 the following day he was sacked. So they are gonna be looking for a new coach. So in my opinion, that is a good thing that they have sacked him right now, so at least they have time to get a new guy in, and he himself has a time to gel with the players and prepare for his first game. So let's hope it is a better year for Saint Etienne. Up next, it was Marseille versus Lille. I went for a 3-2 win for Marseille. It ended up being a 1-all draw, so another 0 for me. I expected, quite an entertaining game, quite a hard-fought game, and it was like that minus the goals. I expected more goals, but it was just one. It was one, as I said, 1-all draw between the two teams. I think Lille were absolutely terrific in that game, and I think they would be really disappointed that they could not get the 3 points. I mean, they could have easily, Jonathan David could have had easily a hat-trick in that first half, but he did not have his shooting boots on. And I mean, Roulé in the goal was amazing for Marseille. He made sure that his team stays in the game, and just like Toulouse in the previous match, Lille were just then punished by Marseille, that because they did not convert their chances. Marseille hit them on the counter attack, and Marlin goes ahead and he scores his goal, and Marseille take the lead. It stays a 1-0 for the majority of the game. Second half, I think Marseille played a lot better. In the first half, like the high line was such a big problem for Marseille. Lille were having so much fun, exploiting that. Second half, they showed up the defense, and I think De Zerbi told his players to be a lot more compact in that second half, and they played a lot better. And it looked like one of those games for Lille where they played amazingly, but they were not just they were not gonna get anything out of it. But thankfully for them, right, and they get 87th 88th minute, sorry, they get a free kick, the ball comes in, and Diakate rises the highest, and he heads it in, and snatches a point away for Lille, which I think they deserve, to be very honest with you. And I think they should have won that game, if I'm being very honest with you, but they would be quite disappointed. It is there, but they are still, unbeaten in their last 16 games, so that is a big thing for them, and they are still in hunt for those European places and that Champions League place as well. Marseille, on the other hand, another 2 points drop, and I think they would be really disappointed. They have again given PSG the chance, the benefit, and now they are behind PSG, 7 points behind PSG, and I think they need to work on something during the winter break. Then it was Auxerre versus Lens. I went for a 2-1 win for Auxerre, but it ended up being a 2-all draw. So it's another 0 for me. I expected this game to be quite entertaining, filled with goals. Both these teams have been playing a really good football, and we got a really good game of football. Like, you cannot you cannot question that, because it was such an entertaining game of football. Lens started on a lot better. They were on the front foot. They took the game to Auxerre, who in my opinion, and to be told, they responded with their own pressure, and they did not back down from Lens' attack. But Lens were really good in that first 20 to 25 minutes, and they got the reward. They go ahead in the mid first half, and they take the lead, but that doesn't really last that long, because Perrin, with that amazing what a free kick that was, one of the best goals in Liga this weekend, and it becomes a 1-all, and it looked like that we were going to go to the second half with a 1-all draw, but Enzolo gets play through, and the way he finishes easily makes it 2-1, and Lens are on lead when we go into the second half. We come back, and it was basically the same way that the first half was played. It was quite an entertaining game, and end-to-end stuff, and it continued in the second half, and Gabriel Osho finally gives Auxerre the second goal that they deserve, that they were desperately looking for, because it was almost Auxerre were the ones in the second half trying to get the equalizer, and they finally got it, courtesy of Gabriel Ochoa, his first goal for the club this season. A big moment for him, and an important point for Auxerre, and in the end, both the game ends 2-all, and in my opinion, that was a fair result. Moving on, it was the Rams versus Monaco. I went for a 2-0 win for Monaco. The game ended to a 0-0, so it's another 0 for me. But the game, it sort of went like I expected it to be. Like, Monaco dominated the entire game. They created abundance of chances, but they just couldn't convert. I mean, I don't know what happened to Monaco players during that game, but they just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. I mean, Minamino could have easily had 3 or 4 goals in that game, but he just somehow missed every single chance that was made for him. And Monaco really paid the price for that. Rams, to be very honest with you, they were never really in that game, if I'm being very honest. Like, they barely did anything, and they somehow still they hit the crossbar through Riakati, and then Nakamura misses that open goal. How he missed that one, I cannot believe. Like, there was nobody, no pressure, nothing, and he misses that goal. And in the end, in my opinion, both these teams did not do enough to get anything out of that game. And as a fair result, it ended up being a 0-0 draw, both teams getting a single point. Massive 2 points dropped for Monaco, and the advantage went back to PSG, which they took. They are now 7 points ahead of Monaco as well. Rams, on the other hand, just 3 points in out of the last 4 games, so they have drawn 3 of them, lost 1 as well, and they have dropped down to 11th in the table, and it is not looking that good for Rams. They might think that they are out of that relegation scrap. In my opinion, they are still with an outward chance of being in that relegation battle. So they would hope that when they come back from the winter break, they can do a lot better than what they have been doing for the last a month or so. Up next, it was Montpellier versus Nice. I went for a 3-1 win for Nice. The game ended as a 2-all draw, so it's another 0 for me. You could see the pattern where it is going on. It was an amazing game for me. It was the game of the weekend in the Liga. I mean, both these teams really stepped up for this game, and I was more impressed for Montpellier, because I expected Nice to have a good game, but Montpellier were like really good. They came back. They went back twice, and they came back in the game, and they and in the second half, especially in the last 15 to 20 minutes, they were the better side. They could have easily gone ahead and won the game as well, but they just couldn't. In the end, they were not able to convert those chances. I think they would be quite disappointed that they could not convert those chances right in the end. Nice, on the other hand, they themselves would be quite disappointed. I mean, they started the game very good. They dominated the proceedings, but they faltered away, and they gave Montpellier the chance. So who would be really happy? They are still in the at the bottom of the table, but they would be happy that they sent their their fans away to the winter break with a great performance. Nice, they have dropped another 2 points for themselves. Like they are trying to get back into the Champions League places, and these 2 points drop could be become a problem for them. But they are in a good position going into the winter break. Next game was Brest versus Nantes. I went for a nil-nil draw, but it was such a wrong prediction because this game was such an entertaining, and I was wrong again. Because Nantes won, Brest won that game 4-1, so another 0 for me. I mean, when I made the prediction, I said that this is one of the hardest game to predict because both these teams are so inconsistent. You really don't know what they are gonna do during the match day, and both of them lived up to the prediction. Like Brest were amazing that day. They basically the way that they started the game, if they continue to play like this, and this is one of the reasons that why a lot of Brest fans and a lot of us people like us who make this content and who watch the league, they get annoyed because they know Brest can be so good. They came out of the block so quickly, like Nantes could not really handle them, and they got their reward midway through the first half. I mean, Kondobia with that volley, what a great volley that was to get the lead. And that basically summed up a Brest this season. That they were so good, but they missed open chances, and then the harder chance Kondobia goes ahead and scores that goal and becomes 1-0, and they double their lead 3 minutes later. It becomes a 2-0, and they were looking really comfortable. Nantes, they sort of came back in the game early on in the second half, getting a goal back, and then they try to attack, try to get that equalizer, but unfortunately for them, they were not really able to get that equalizer, and they left so many spaces behind, and it became very easy. Abdullah Sima scoring a double, scoring a brace between in just 5 minutes, because there were so many spaces left behind by Nantes trying to get that equalizer. It became easy for Sima to get that goal. Both of them, like, it was very easy, get the ball above, and he makes that run and beats the keeper. It becomes 4-1. And he made sure that Brest and the 2024 with a win, and their fans go into the winter break with a smile on their faces. They are 11th in the table, and they are still not out of those European places. They are still in contention for that, and they know themselves, and they would hope that the 2025 is a lot better as compared to the first the second half of 2024 was for them. Nantes, on the other hand, it is not looking really good for them. They are down at 14th. They are not winning games. There's just a 1 point difference between them and 16th place Saint Etienne as well. So they would hope there's a change in fortune for them. But at the moment, I think they should be really worried. Moving on, it was Rennes versus Angers. I went for a 2-all draw. It ended up being a 2-0 win for Rennes, so I don't get another point. It's still 0 for me, because I predicted a 2-all draw because both these teams were really struggling coming into this game. There was just a point difference between them, and you could see why. Like, it was such a bad game of football. I think it was the worst game of the weekend, in my opinion. Like, both of them were so timid in their approach. Both of them were so scared to take any chances, to try to create something, because they were just so afraid to lose the game. And somehow, some way, I don't know how, but Rennes go ahead and they scored the goal with a header by Alexander Borkrud, and they take the lead around the 30-minute mark. It becomes a 1-0 for Rennes, and that was basically it in the first half. They come in the second half, and it was basically the same. I mean, Angers did not have a shot on goal in the entire game. That's how bad they played, and Rennes themselves, like, they did not do anything special. Angers then they gave the ball away, and Rennes scored that second goal, and became a very easy win for them. They end 2024 with a win, so they will be happy about it, but they're still 14th in the league. They are not out of that relegation threat, in my opinion. They are still in there fighting for it, and they know that as well. Angers, on the other hand, another defeat for them. They stay, they are 15th in the table, and they are out of the relegation zone on just on the basis of goal difference, and they would hope that they can turn things around. They know that they are not going to win a lot of matches, but they would hope that they can win enough matches to stay out of the bottom three when they come back from the international not the international break, from the winter break. The next game was Ligue versus Strasbourg, and I went for a 2-0 win for earlier, where it ended up being a 3-0 win for Strasbourg. So it's another 0 for me. I went for a 2-0 win because Strasbourg came in this game in a dreadful form. But lucky for them, Lièvre were absolutely, abysmal in this game. They couldn't they couldn't would have hoped for a better opponent than Lièvre Strasbourg, and especially in that first half, I mean, they were absolutely useless, and Strasbourg took a full advantage of that, scoring 2 goals in the space of 5 minutes, and that basically ended the game. If I'm being very honest with you, second half Lièvre were a lot better, but it is the same story for them, that they were not able to convert their chances. They could have easily scored 5 or 6 goals in that second half, but they really did not do that. And Strasbourg go ahead and they add a soul to their own, scoring in that 90th minute, making it a 3-0. It's their first away win in their in 11 attempts for Strasbourg, so that's a big win for them. With that win, they move up to 13 in the table, but they are still in that relegation battle. I keep on saying the teams from 10th, or even for the team that is on 9th, I forgot, I think it's Rams, I think, from 9th to up until 18, all of them are in the relegation battle, in my opinion. Strasbourg know that as well. Lièvre, on the other hand, I mean, 11th defeat of the season, the highest in the league. Nobody has lost more games than them, and how the manager is still in his job, I really don't know. They would hope that the winter break is something good for them, and they can start winning the games, or at least try to draw a game as well to get some sort of points on the table. Otherwise, they could be going down by the end of the season. And the last game was a PSG versus Lyon. I went for a 2-all draw, and it ended up being a 3-1 win for PSG. So it's another 0 for me. It's bad. We will talk about my predictions, my points later on. But in terms of the game, I went for a 2-all draw because both these teams came into this game, with in an amazing form. They both of them looked really good. But it was a PSG show in Paris. I mean, they were on a different level to Lyon. The way that they came out of this game, they knew that how important this game was. They had a great chance, to extend that lead to 7 points, and they did. Monaco had dropped points, Marseille had dropped points, and it was a big chance for them. And they took the game to Lyon, who really couldn't cope with them, their attacking prowess. They were 2-0 up inside 15 minutes, and Lyon just couldn't do anything about it. And they could have easily scored more goals, if I'm being very honest with you. Lyon got a 1 goal back just before halftime. But in the second half, it was the same. PSG's momentum did not stop, even though they conceded a goal, and they could have easily scored 4 or 5 in that second half as well, but just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. And Lyon, they tried a lot, but unfortunately for them, it was not their night. And Ramos in the end, makes it official in the 84th minute, puts the game to bed. A great goal for him, and he needed that as well. Important goal for him as well. And it becomes a 3-1 in the end, and PSG win, and they take home all the 3 points, and their first win in three league games. Finally, they drew their last 2 games. They needed this win, and as I said, they got 7 points clear at the top of the table. So this victory becomes even more sweeter for them. Lyon, on the other hand, it was their first defeat in Liga in 3 months, so that was a big deal for them. But luckily for them, every other team around them dropped the points. Apart from PSG, all the top 8 teams did not win this weekend. So that was quite bizarre, if I'm being very honest with you. So they are in not that much of a big problem. They are still in that Champions League Champions League fighting place, and nothing bad has happened in terms of places being changed. That is it for that. Is my review. That is my prediction review. And as you can see, I have gotten 0 points. I mean, I don't think I have performed that bad till now in any of the leagues, and I really couldn't believe this happened. But if you look at the results, so many teams dropped the points. I mean, Marseille dropping points, Monaco dropping points, Nice dropping points. I mean, I couldn't really believe it. So many of my results, in my opinion, were quite correct, and I thought that it was going to go that way, but it ended up being so bad. So I really don't know what to say. And just like most of the teams that we talked about in the league, I hope that after the winter break it becomes better for me, and I get at least I was getting. I remember last week I got 4 points, 3.5 points, and I was I should at least get 5 points. I would prefer 3.5 over the 0 that I got. I mean, it was a shambolic performance from me, but I hope that I get a better after the international break. And that is it from me in this video. Let me know what you guys thought of the prediction review, what you guys thought of the weekend overall in Liga. Who do you think is the favorite for the title at the moment? Who do you think is going to qualify for Europe? We are going to the winter break. It's just one game. PSG and Monaco are going to play Wednesday, and then there's no Liga game until January. So let me know what what you are thinking going into the winter break in the comment section below. Who do you think is going to get relegated? Everything you can just tell me in the comment section below, and like the video, share it as well. Click on the notification bell, and of course subscribe to the channel. We are trying to get to 400 subscribers before the end of this year, so please go ahead and subscribe and help the channel out. Until next time, bye bye.